Oh my fucking God. I've just found out that with most pole dancers, it's the pole that actually spins around. I literally thought all pole dancers just got their flesh pulled in all directions and had a high pain threshold.
I was able to secure a conversation with Natasha Rice, personal trainer and host of Not Your Typical Health Podcast. She has a magnificent mind, a big brain, if you will, and we're going to pick that brain. So sit back, hope you enjoy. We have with us Natasha Rice. Super dope to have you on. You are a personal trainer. You do pole fitness. You're a thought leader, content creator. Your Instagram is dope. And you have a podcast as well, Not Your Typical Health Podcast. Tell me about it.
Thank you so much for having me. It's so awesome to be able to collab and connect with you. Like you said, Not Your Typical Health Podcast, I try to talk about a variety of topics that I believe should be in the health sphere. Mental aspects, physical, relationships, diet, exercise, how to perform better in the gym, just a variety of things. I believe in taking more of a holistic approach for health and wellness.
I want to mix it up a little bit, so we're going to have you react to some tweets because you're also in pole fitness. So tell me about how you got into pole fitness.
I started pole maybe about 3 years ago or so. My sister actually got me into it. She was pole dancing herself. She ended up getting a pole and we started together.
Just scrolling on Instagram, there's things I've seen you do. I'm just like, how though? And that's why I'm excited to have you react to some of these tweets that we got here.
The first tweet says, I might get judged for this, but I want to learn how to do pole dance, like actually learn how to do cool stuff on a pole and be super flexible.
Do you feel like you're going to be judged coming into this space? Tell me kind of about like that judgment barrier, if there is one.
There definitely was a judgment barrier for me. For at least the first year, I kind of kept it to myself. I wasn't really exposing myself in that way. I was kind of doing it on my own. I was like fearful to share it with like my peers and my friends, less so because they know me. But like colleagues, people who, you know, may take that in a different way or view it as something in connection to sex work, which it makes sense that there is a connection since they were the pioneers of this beautiful art form. But over time, I had to question myself and my own perspective on it and why I really cared what other people thought of what I did in my free time. Over time, I started to recognize that it wasn't about them. It wasn't about what other people thought of me. It was how it made me feel. I felt like pole was something that was in my life that challenged me for the better, that allowed me to view myself differently.
You touched on how pole fitness is basically an art form. So I want you to kind of go deeper into demystifying the entire art form. You know what I mean? Because I feel like people see it, but they don't fully understand it. So could you break that down a little bit?
I feel like I can very much compare it to something like gymnastics or ballet or some form of dance, because when you really look at it, when you look behind the scenes and you see the amount of dedication and time that people put into creating like such a flawless, a remarkable, a flowing piece, it doesn't just happen overnight where you touch a pole and you're like, okay, like I'm doing this, like, you know. Oh my God. I've just found out that with most pole dancers, it's the pole that actually spins around. I literally thought all pole dancers just got their flesh pulled in all directions and had a high pain threshold. Part of that is true. The high pain tolerance is definitely true. The pole is truly what spins. It's almost like it's like attached to a base that turns itself, and then the pole is stationary on top of that.
Wow. Okay, so let me get this right. The base spins, but the pole doesn't?
Think about an office chair. So when you sit in an office chair, if you sit down, you're stationary, right? Even if you turn your body like on the chair, technically you're not really moving. The chair is. Do you know what I'm saying? So if I held this position, it would look like I'm turning. but it's actually the chair that's turning.
Oh, yo, that is nuts.
The pain is still real. Your flesh will get pulled. With gymnastics or with dance, underneath the point shoes, your feet are being crushed in that, instance. And it's very much similar with the pole where you're holding on, your skin is being pulled. You may bump into it and cause yourself to get a little bruised. I get that question all the time though, like if we like lotion up, if there's like like a specific lotion that helps it to like yeah.
So do you have like a certain oil or a lotion you use?
I use dry hands for like the stickiness, the tackiness. Part of the experience is that your skin must be exposed in order to stick to the pole.
Yo, I want to take a quick break from the video and thank our sponsors. No one, because I'm still a small fry. However, I do love the people who are here. You made it to this point of the video. I'd greatly appreciate it if you left a like.
I just got done with pole fitness class and ... Now I want to do some strength training just so I can get better at twirling myself around a pole.
Tell me about the strength needed to pole dance.
Oh my God. All right, so prior to pole dancing, I did not work on my upper body much. Despite being a personal trainer, I did like, your day-to-day chest presses, I could definitely not do a pull-up at all. Once I started, it was almost like a need. Like I needed to do it in order to accomplish some of the things that I really wanted to do. We often are stressed about having like good legs, good thighs, a good butt. And not a lot of emphasis is placed on, upper body strength or having muscles in your upper body. And it wasn't until that I got into pole fitness where I started to really appreciate training my upper body and being able to have that strength in order to accomplish these things. Now I can do 6 pull-ups, which I'm happy about, but it really does make a difference. Oh boy, Reddit is always fun. Pole bruises. Does it get better? I would love to tell you yes, it does get better, but sadly it does not. I feel like you get more comfortable with certain positionings, but over time you start to learn new ways of positioning yourself on the pole, and then you just find new ways of bruising yourself.
What is something you are particularly good at on the pole?
I myself really love the shoulder mounts. I would not say I am amazing at them because there's still more work that can be done for all of it. It never feels like you're like, oh, I am amazing at this move. It's always like, okay, like, I can see how this has changed in the past few months, or how I've like progressed. So this tweet says, most pole fitness girls dance like robots. Y'all are missing a vital component.
So this had me wondering, is there a difference between pole fitness and pole dancing?
I think that there are different classes of pole dancing and pole fitness. I mean, some people, they are more after like a strength base where they don't really care about the fluidity. They care more about accomplishing unimaginable stunts. Other people, they are more about the exotic flow of things. They want to be sexy. They want to, be alluring. And then other people, they are more like contemporary about it, where they are trying to tell a story or evoke an emotion or an idea. It just depends on the style that the person wants to execute. But definitely in the beginning, it can kind of feel like you're dancing like a robot. Speed walking is a sport, but not pole dancing. Who will help me petition the Olympic Committee? #Tokyo 2020.
Okay, so this tweet aged interestingly because speed walking actually might not be a sport in the next Olympics, which is hilarious. I used to know a speed walker though. It's a serious deal. I'll say this though, it's not in the Olympics, but some people argue if it's a sport. What's your take on that? Is it a sport or is it not a sport?
It is a sport. Like I Anybody who says it's not a sport, like, sign up for a class. I just feel like people say that it's not a sport because of the connotation that it has with it, because it comes from a background of sex work. It's almost like there is like a gender component with it, even though a lot of males participate in the sport as well. But it begun through women. Being from women, like, there tends to be a connotation that it is less than or easy, or it's not truly a sport, or it doesn't take a lot of strength, or just the aspects of being a sport.
I follow you on Instagram, and you've curated this amazing feed of a holistic approach to how you approach health. You got your podcast going, you have very inspiring posts. Literally, I can open your story and get a paragraph of information. Like, when I open your story, it hits me hard. I'm like, whoa, I was not expecting to read all that on someone's story. But you always have, you're just outpouring so much goodness on your feed. And part of that is body positivity. So I actually want you to speak on that a little bit. Like, what kind of got you into body positivity?
I was not for body acceptance. I wasn't confident in myself. It's funny because I started working out, just strength training, as a means of changing my physical appearance, and then that got me into personal training. And over time, as I saw the changes in my body, I thought that my mentality was going to change. And when that didn't happen, I had to go back to the drawing board and be like, what is it that I need to work on? Even when I had been at my either thinnest, leanest, or whatever, I didn't feel right with myself still. I still was picking out portions of myself that I didn't love. I see around me all the time as a personal trainer, women, men, people just in general, wanting to look differently and not seeing the value in their own body in its current state. And I just really wanted to bring that energy, what I've learned through my own experience, to other people.
Like, when we look at it from the bird's eye view, we're dealing with more than just body positivity. And that's what's dope about when I go into like your Instagram page, or when I listen to your podcast, I can get a slew of things that could make me feel empowered about my health.
That is the goal.
You said, if I could gift any person looking to change their body with anything, it would be the understanding that the foundation of a healthy individual is a beautiful mind. Why? Break that down for me. I need more.
People who are looking to change their body, it usually begins with a lot of insecurity, with the inability to see their worth outside of those insecurities. What people don't realize is that despite the number on the scale changing, or despite your body changing, you still are going to have that same perspective on yourself if you don't do the mental work. Because not every day you're going to feel like gung-ho about your body. You're not going to wake up and be like, yes, like, I feel great every day of my life, because that's not true. When you think of body positivity, you think that you always have to be positive. I feel like body acceptance may be a better way of, conveying it.
What is your overall mission?
I would say that my overall mission is to provide people with empowering content. You have the two pillars that people usually think on in terms of health and wellness, and that's diet and exercise. But when you think on it that way, you are limiting yourself to a variety of factors. You're limiting yourself of environmental and social factors that may play a role in how you feel in this life. The amount of stress that you intake from work, maybe the relationships that you engage in and what they look like in your life. So I really want to open people up to the idea of what health and wellness could look like or should look like.
Yo, thanks again to Natasha for freeing up some time to join. I'm going to make it super easy for you to connect with her. Her Spotify and IG, links below.
But there are also stationary poles where you don't spin on it, which is also what makes it confusing.
I assume those are the ones that the firefighters use.
Yes, those are the ones that the firefighters use.